All right, good morning and welcome to Vectorworks for Dummies for Audiovisual Management Systems. My name is Lee Soul, Project Manager out of Seattle. Today I'm here to show you Vectorworks basics, and then we'll continue with lessons greatly increasing your value and increasing your knowledge in Vectorworks, and hopefully able to create the sales tools and technical tools we need to help make our shows a little bit better. All right, so first we're going to start with just an empty workspace here. As you can see, I have everything set into standard. If you wish to work in metrics, you can go to File, and then Document Settings, Document Preferences, and this is where you can get into the different dimensions and whether you're going to be in metric or standard. Another big one is Spotlight Preferences. These are also fun. This is a lot of extra crap we'll get into in the future. I'm looking for documents. We'll set up the autosave in a minute. First, we'll start off with the basic workspace. Here's where you'll be doing most of your drawing. Up here is add-on information. This is zooming in and zooming out of your drawing, which also can be done with the roller on your mouse. This next one, top plan, gives you different views, which we'll be utilizing once we start drawing some stuff. The teapot is different rendering modes, which will allow us to add color and lighting beams and other things, which we'll do in the future. Right now, we're just going to start with a very basic square, which we go over here to our tools section. This pointer is a selection tool. The hand actually allows you to move the workspace around, which is also pushing down on the roller button will give you that option. Flyover tool, or as I like to call Saturn, allows us to spin the workspace in 3 dimensions, which we'll see after we make our first little cube here. And then a zoom tool, text tools, call outs, and other things. But right now, what we'll do is we'll start by making a basic square. So we'll go back, we've screwed around with our view. We'll go back up here to current view, go back to top plan, which gives us a straight 2D top plan, and we're going to draw a square. This square will actually be for us a breakout room here in the next lesson or so. So we're going to start with a small breakout room of about 30 feet by 30 feet. So we'll just draw a rough square, and we can go up here to our object info, which is going to be a lot of information and data for you here in the future of each object. We can go up here to width and height and then put in exact measurements. We can either do 30 feet annotation, or if you don't put in the annotation, it goes by inches. So then it would be 30 times 12, and it'll give you 30 feet. This next layer is its position on the actual grid itself. And because this is going to be a room in the future, we want to make it dead center. You'll see why here in a second. So each of these correlates to a position in the 3D world. If this is lit up, it's going to move this corner to these coordinates here, where you can see it's at negative 15 and 17 already. If we go to center, we're going to make it 0, 0. So what this does is it actually centers the room for us and gives us these cool little hash marks that also correlate to the measurements up top, which allows us to align things a hell of a lot easier. One of the things I'm going to do is okay, we made a basic square. We can color it, which is over here in attributes. We can do solids, patterns, none, like solids. We can go in and make it purple if we want to. So there's purple. Typically, these basic polygons I start with will always be clear, so you can see through them. And the pen will be solid. And if you scroll down or pull this down a little bit, it actually gives you pen thickness. You always want to crank this up a little bit to 0.25, because when you do renderings and printings, it gives you a nice thick line, whereas the base of 0.05, sometimes hard to see. So what we've got here is our basic square again, dead centered. Now what we're going to do is we're going to extrude it to a cube. To do that, we go up to Model, Extrude, And for fun, we're going to say that this 30-foot by 30-foot room is also 12 feet tall. So we'll put it at 12 feet, hit enter. And so now it becomes, you see the object info has changed from rectangle to extrude and gives us not only the dimensions, but the extrusion depth that we can change, but also the bottom Z. So this is the very bottom of the cube is how it is in the 3D plane. And to see it in 3D, we just spin it around. One of the things you want to do when we're also in the 3D view is click on it again and get rid of the fill. And you have to do it a couple times sometimes. There's going to be attributes in 2D view and attributes in the 3D rendering view. So you have to change them in both views as you go along. You'll understand here in a second. Basically, we made this now a straight cube, three-dimensional box. And what this allows us to do is actually see the room dimensions perfectly and the ceiling height. Okay. And that is how to basically draw a very generic breakout room. Okay. Or a basic object. We could do the same thing with circles. If we want to just make a big old cylinder for something, for a scenic element, same thing. You draw your object. You can go over here to the object info, change the radius to say 2 feet. We can then go to model, extrude it, make it a 12-foot cylinder. And then, we can say, like, when I'm doing, when we do room drawings and stuff, we actually have to put columns in because so many times they'll screw you over and you don't know about it until day it shows. So as I start making room diagrams for these properties, I'm actually putting in columns and indents and stuff as well, because these can affect your sight lines, the total audience possible, projection lines, and just annoyances and stuff. So that's a cylinder. If you want to get really crazy and get into tubes, down here is our different tool sets in the bottom left-hand corner. We've got detailing, which is a real fun one. And so this one allows us to make round tubing. So if you want to make pipes, which we often use, this is going to be your tool. But what you'll do is you'll first go back into top plan. And then in a lot of these tools, there's this bottom right-hand corner drop down, which then gives you other options. And they're kind of hard to see if you've got old eyes like my old fart ass. But, we're going to change this one to round tubing 3D. And like we just made a cylinder here, we're just going to make a pipe for fun. And we can actually go in and get into actual standard thicknesses and diameters. Like our schedule 40 is typically 1.9 inches with a 1.45 wall thickness. That's annoying, but if you're actually drawing schedule 40 pipes like we did for the video walls at F1 a while back, this is nice to know. Length, we're going to make it just a standard 8-foot pipe. And it renders out as a nice 2-inch pipe. Now, if we wanted to take this pipe and rotate it, we would select it while it's orange, and we go up to modify and rotate. We've got a couple different things. Rotate, just normal rotate, is just in 2-dimensional. Seeing it's a pipe, it's not going to really do a damn thing for us. Rotate 3D is where we're going to start playing around, and we'll actually be able to manipulate the pipe in space. So we're going to select to rotate the pipe 90 degrees at the object center, and we're going to pick the Z plane first. So we'll hit OK, and it didn't do anything. So we didn't pick the right plane. And to undo anything, it's always just Control Z or Edit Undo. Once again, we'll go back up to Modify, Rotate, at that one, Rotate 3D, and we'll pick the Y plane. And now as you see, it's rotated it horizontally. And now it could be something like a 5-point or something. So that's basics of shapes, models. One of the last things I like to do always, not the primary ones here, but like the main cube. Once I have it in the position and centered, I always right click and lock it. Lock allows it to stay in that position. No matter how many times you select it, it won't move around on you or anything. And this is what I always try and do to my base layer or my design layer, which is right here in the lower right. We'll get into those next. Okay, so that's basically the end of basic polygons and stuff. We're going to stop the record, and then we're going to start up with a basic room design next.